All right, guys, what is up? Good evening, good evening on this. Wow, it's what, Wednesday? A Wednesday night now?
Wednesday.
Oh,
Yep.
Wednesday, we're throwing it up. It's not a Wednesday night throwdown, it's a little something different. Um, I'll let you guys know what it's like when we get to it. But in the meantime, guys, it is I. The Dumbledore is always open. Gandalf, no gray, no white, all black. Can't get through without someone laughing. Joey LaForge captaining this enterprise, and Dr. Fantastic, because I still believe in fair play. I am Left Eye Ego. Join with me tonight on the special night is the man, the myth, the chosen legend, the myth that is the Sasquatch in Italian form, come to greet us with his presence. Cannoli Sasquatch, how are we doing, good sir?
How you doing, man? Good. I'm good. I got this week off, so I'm getting some stuff done with the content, some ideas going. A website possibly started soon, so it's been busy, but it's been good.
Awesome, awesome. Glad you're able to get some time off and get some work in.
Yeah,
Again, thanks, man, for joining me tonight.
of course.
Really excited about doing this. For everyone else, I was talking to Mr. Sasquatch and a few other people talking about just some of their passions and things that they're actually excited about. I know that in this creative space, we can kind of get bogged down on trying to find the next thing that happened in the news or the next thing that happened in politics or the next thing that happened in entertainment that we sometimes can lose the reason why we wanted to start this channel. And so I want to reach out to other creators and say, hey, what's something that you're passionate about and on your mind that,
Sure.
you haven't really had time to talk about. So tonight that's kind of what we wanted to do and start this. I called today tonight's stream is, the passion of the Sasquatch. So
Yeah, that made me laugh.
thank you, sir. Thank you.
That was good.
Thank you, sir. So we're going to kind of get into that. But before we do all that, I'm actually going to just, kind of do an introduction of sorts between the both of us. I mean, kind of
Sure.
how we met. I think it was because Abomination AJ, right?
It was through Abomination. Yeah, it was through Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. Like most people I've met through here, it was through a tweet, and we were tagged in it, and we just started, like everybody else, just started chatting through, and then you had me on your show a couple of times, and then we communicated mostly through messaging and stuff like that. But yeah, of course, we were watching each other's content and commenting in the chats, and then here we are, man. Just two a Dallas and a Giant fan, Cowboy fan, and a Giant fan getting together. Weird, but I like it.
Agreed, agreed. And we are together to fuck up your algorithm, kind of like this. I'm just gonna jump this over here for you guys and show you what I'm talking about.
You sure about this? Yes, dude. John DeMont is an asshole. He stole our bikes and he stole our identity. I can't believe he's getting away with this, man. You know what? We got to do what we should have done 30 years ago. Yes, you're right. You ready? Yeah, Sean DeMont, that prick. Son of a bitch. That goddamn prick.
Yo, I'm gonna steal my dad's vape pen. I know where he hides that shit.
Hey, you.
So, yes, we are here collectively to mess up your YouTube algorithm.
Yes, that's what we do.
So yeah, ever since then we've been talking back and forth. I know that when I was listening to one of your streams, you guys were talking about guns, and I was like, "This guy's good, people. I need to meet him."
Way all the way, baby.
Thank you. So yeah, we've definitely had more correspondence since then, and reaching out, just want to talk to him. So I'm actually going to shut up and ask you one of the first questions that we got on here, which was first one is it's kind of a two parts. First things first, how the hell do we even get the name that's beautiful, Cannoli Sasquatch?
Cannoli Sasquatch name. Yeah.
And then the second one is, what made you actually want to start your YouTube channel?
Yeah. So I'll start with the first one. So my co-host on Friday, Whiskey Banger, and Filipino Meatball, actually, we worked together before.
Okay.
About a couple of years ago, but we knew each other, or at least I knew Filipino Meatball before, and then he introduced me to Whiskey Banger. Then we all had a job together for at least a year, and then when I walked into the job the first day, me and Whiskey Banger hit it off right away. So I sat next to him, and he was training me how to do the job, and ironically, it was in the firearms industry, right? So this is
wow.
an ex-Army vet guy. Kind of intimidating at first because he's very quiet and shy. So I sat next to the dude, and immediately he just starts talking to me, making me comfortable. And he just looks over to me and he goes, "You're Italian, right?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm Italian." And he goes, you like cannolis? I go, of course, I'm Italian, right? And then he's just like, big dude, like how tall are you? I go 6'5", and at the time I was much heavier than I am now, but I was just a big guy,
Okay.
you know? So he goes, yeah, you're like a Sasquatch. He goes, that's it. That's your name from now on, is Cannoli Sasquatch.
Wow.
Throughout the whole company, that became the joke, the running joke. Nobody called me by my first name. Always Cannoli or Cannoli Sasquatch. And it just stuck with me. And so when I did come up with the idea to start the channel, it wasn't even a question of what should my name be. My wife, Mrs. Sasquatch, is like, it's got to be Cannoli Sasquatch. It's perfect for a YouTube channel, new content creation. So that's where the name came from.
Wow.
And then as far as like starting the channel, I was like everybody else. What I really wanted to do is go to college and become a broadcaster. If I couldn't play sports, I wanted to broadcast sports. But
Wow. Okay.
things just didn't work out. Life happens, and a little bit of that fear in the back of my mind, like, you know, that little voice telling you you're not going to be good enough to do it. So I listened to that voice, unfortunately, and it overtook my. So that confidence just was shot. So okay, so I just worked through the workforce thing. Came to be, I met a lot of great people that I thought in the back of my mind took notes. Like if I ever got a podcast or was doing something in broadcasting, these people would be great to start with.
Oh wow.
So it just stuck with me during COVID. The idea was there. I almost pulled the trigger, and then I was like, nah, because I that seed of doubt came into my head again. I was like, you know what? It's not going to work. It's just not. It's saturated. Everybody's doing COVID or doing this during COVID right now. This is just not going to be plausible for me. And then finally, like last June, my wife just looks at me and she goes, "What the hell are you waiting for?" She goes, "If it's not now, if not now, when?" And I was like, you know, I'm tired of just waiting. And so my boss at the time sent me back to work from home. I went back into the office after COVID ended, and then he sent me back. He goes, "You're better at home. Stay home." I was like, okay, this is a perfect opportunity. He's like, "You're more productive at home." I was like, you know, he gave me this good equipment to work off. I was like, why don't I just try it? Do one episode. So I ended up loving it, and I was much more comfortable on the live stream than I thought I would be. Like it just came off very natural to me. I got some good feedback, and then I asked Whiskey Banger, "Do you want to do a podcast with me?" Hence, Whiskey and Cannolis was our Friday show. That was our main thing. Then I added Meatball, and then it just kind of blew up into this thing where now I have two shows, Mondays and Fridays. I have an awesome team behind me on both. So it's just, yeah, I just finally took the plunge, and I always wanted to do it, and I said, I'm just tired of waiting. So here we are, 2 shows, and just continuing to grow.
All right, man. That's pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie. And not to make it, you know, trying to say, hey, well, I know that too, but I was thinking that I know that when I was like 9 or 10, Stuart Scott was on ESPN and made me really think about changing from like my profession I do now. It's like saying,
yeah,
I really want to be a sportscaster. You know, I was living in Illinois, like 2 hours south of Chicago during the 90s when it was White Sox, it was Cubs, it was Bulls. And so, you know, between that excitement and Stuart Scott, it's like he made you want to actually do sportscasting, which is probably why you do so well when we did the Wednesday night throwdown too. Because you like sports and kind of going over that.
Yeah, 100%.
Speaking of which, guys, the Parsons jersey, not trying to troll the Giants fans at all on this one.
It's not right, man. It's not right.
It just so
I'll let you have it, but it's not right.
It's only because the stuntman got me this for Christmas and my birthday. So I'm showing off the gift. That's all. All right. I've been trying to find like the Thanksgiving themed jersey for them for months, let alone and he found this one in the Parsons. Yeah. So it's like I have to flex that.
I'll give you Parsons because I'm a Penn State fan, so I'll give you Parsons. But
that was the only reason I'm like, hey, look, no matter how it is, his defense, he's in his second year, you know, and he's a Penn State guy in Dallas. That helps. Everyone wins with that. I appreciate it. Okay. So I mean, you know, when you actually started doing this, you know, I guess the question is like, how else was, you know, Mrs. Cannoli Sasquatch influential in you starting the channel? And you know what, even back before you go that, I know you guys talked about it on one of the streams on Friday, I think, but how did you guys actually meet? Because I know y'all been together for a while, right?
Oh boy, yeah, we've been together for 25 years now. We've known each other so it was a high school thing, and high school sweethearts basically. I was I met her in my freshman year initially, and then we're friendly then, and then we kind of just, like most high school things, you kind of stop talking to that person because schedules change. You get to a different group of friends, and then we met up again with each other, like my junior year into my senior year, and we were just friendly. Now, I, of course, and we talked, Mrs. Cannoli's talked about this. I put a clip out about this from our last Friday show, is that I always liked her in the not so friendly way. Like, I loved her as a friend, but I also had a romantic interest where she didn't.
Gotcha.
So I'm probably missing some details here. She's going to yell at me in the chat, but I pursued it and then eventually stopped because I was like, all right, you know what? If it works out, it works out. If it's one of those things. So eventually, we were very friendly. We spent a lot of time together. We would go to movies together. We would just kind of hang out. And it was like kind of like one of those high school teen romantic comedy high school movies where, like, I was just, I'm just going to be the friend, like those 80s movies where it's the friendly guy just always hanging around and she's dating other people and I'm just kind of waiting for it to fall apart and kind of thing. But I don't, I never sabotaged anything. But no, okay. Then one day, it was her senior year. I was already out of high school at that point, and she just finally, a lot of stuff happened in between. We stopped talking for a while, and then one day she just shows up to my house when I was living with my parents at the time, pulls me outside, and she was just talking, and she's like, she's like, what do you think about us or whatever? And she just kind of attacked me and planted a kiss on me. Because she finally came around. She realized that we've been through a lot together as friends, and I stuck around, and I was there, I was loyal to her. And at the time, I wasn't expecting anything, and that's when life happens. When you least expect things to happen, is when they happen, right? So she does that, and then from that point on, that was it. We've been inseparable since, and so 25 years in the making. So it's been a long time, but it's definitely an interesting story.
Okay, all right. And so I'm guessing the thing is, also it was, I had to put that up on there too. That he said, hey, you got that sandpaper game. I'm wearing you down sooner or later, my man.
Patience and time, man. That's all it takes.
I got you. And so I guess it was, I'm saying she was very, very, very influential in you actually starting and getting was she the one that kind of put the idea back in your head to say, hey, you should start something with YouTube or Facebook or Instagram? Like,
she was always encouraging of it. She always is. She's and so to me, it was more of, she was tired of hearing me just talk about it. My OCD kept going. And when I have an idea in my head, I can't get it out sometimes. And I just keep talking about it and trying to justify things basically by just repeating it. And she finally just like, what do you have to lose? Just do it. Like, stop talking about it and just do it. Cause I won't lie. I mean, a lot of times in my life, there was things where I passed me up or I didn't pursue because of that fear. And we all have it, right? When we do things, but you have to take risks. I just decided to start doing it as a middle-aged man, but better late than never, right? So she was very influential with me, and she said, I'll stick behind you the whole way. And whatever you want to do, financially, mentally, supportive, I don't care. Just do it. And so here we are. So yeah, she was a big, big part.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And Copa said, I hate romantic comedies except for this.
Thank you, Copa.
Good job, Copa. All right. So I guess the other thing is, how has having, the podcast kind of affected you all's relationship? I know that me and Shiro do the Ordinary Gains, and you guys will have the Mr. and Mrs. Cannoli Sasquatch channel that you guys will have on there too. So how has the podcast, affected you all's relationship?
At first, it was kind of a nice juggling match because I didn't realize how much time this would take up. Working a full-time job, which most of us do, and then trying to do a podcast show and then editing that show and just learning all the nuances with YouTube, the little things, right? So as time was going on, again, she was supportive. At first, I don't think she knew what she wanted to do. She didn't know where her place was because I was so focused and bearing down on just what I needed to do to get people to watch, get subscribers, right? I was kind of, it was kind of stressing me out a little bit because I was like, I only have this many subscribers. She's like, you've only been doing this for like 3 weeks. But again, the OCD kicks in and I'm like, oh, wait. Yeah. So she kind of calmed me down there. And finally, once I got an understanding of what I wanted, and I said, I think I had her on one time on a show and people loved I got a lot of good feedback. And I was like, you know what? She talks a lot.
She's awesome.
And she's got a lot to say. She's very interesting and she's feisty, and we kind of play off each other. Like I've always been told that we are like the Italian Peg and Al Bundy. We just we love each other, but we give it back to each other. Like we're good at that. And so there's got a lot of good dialogue between us. So I said, you know what? Let me get her involved more. So I had her taking notes on the show in the background, helping me out with my editing. And then finally, I said, I have to make her a staple on the show. And then Whiskey Banger recently took some time off because he just had a new baby. So he's been on and off. And then so I just said, she's got to be a permanent thing on my Friday shows. And then now we're even talking about doing pre-recorded stuff together, whether it's a movie we watch or just, I want her to have her own show on my channels eventually. I think she'd be perfect for that. So I think, yeah, it's been great for our relationship, though. It's gotten us closer because we were involved in everything, including this now.
All right, man. I know Shiro is going to hear this and be like, "Where's my channel at, sir?"
sorry, you go.
No, it's all good. No, it's all good, man. It's all good. It's all good. I think at some point I definitely want to I'm going to start trying to bring on guests for the Ordinary Gains podcast and just say, "Hey, look, we've only been married since 2021. So like we're basically the newlyweds." So I was like, hey, look, we're rookies and we need to talk to some veterans in the game. Like what stays the same, what changes. So yeah, even if we pre-record that one, like we'll definitely have to have you and Mrs. Cannoli Sasquatch on because I think that would be a hilarious time, especially with people that used to live on the East Coast and had to relocate out west. So but I guess the next thing is I guess when you start these kind of podcasts, there's there's the expected and there's the unexpected. So for you, what's been the thing that kind of surprised you about having a podcast, or what was something that you're saying, well, wow, this is kind of a trade-off to having a podcast as well? Not saying the good and the bad, but what was the good and the trade-off for having the podcast?
I think the first thing that I kind of mentioned before in the last question was the time that it takes to actually put together a decent podcast. You can watch other people on YouTube, take notes until you're doing it yourself. It's a challenge. I was talking to Vex Electronica about this in the chat, in our Twitter chat a little bit earlier today. You don't realize how much pre-production stuff there has to be done behind the scenes, whether it's an intro or just lining up how you want the show to look. If you have a script, if you just want to kind of freebase it and just kind of do whatever. So I kind of had to find a balance. I started doing my own streams at first. Terrible lighting, terrible camera, and you're sitting there going like, what the hell? And people would give you that, but I liked the feedback. And the feedback was kind of a shocking thing too. And I knew that was expected, but I like the constructive criticism. I didn't know how I was going to handle it. I actually handled that better than I thought. I took that information and, I still got a lot of work to do as far as production on and things, but I think I've got a great balance on how I want my shows to go. I like some things kind of planned out, questions and the time frames and how long, but I also do like people having the freedom to just express themselves. I don't want anybody to hold back. I didn't realize how important it was just to be authentic. I mean, I've seen my favorite streamers do that and people love that. I was a little robotic in the beginning, and I realized just be yourself. You have a funny personality. I think people like me. I'm not much to look at, but hey, I got a personality, so that should help. Man.
You're fun. You're definitely fun.
Thank you. So and then the editing part. Oh my God, man, just editing clips out.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because I do the show. I did my Friday show, and then it'd take me hours. I'll be watching you and Abomination AG on Saturday on one screen, and then editing, and it would take me like 8 hours. And I'm like, there's got to be an easier way to do this. And I did find an easier way, but the editing process, even just clipping out parts and having an intro and an outro and how you cut up, I was like, God, this is exhausting. And that's probably the one thing that I don't love, but I've managed it, and it's helping with my patience a lot. So Mrs. Sasquatch is happy about that.
No, I understand. Shiro come around the corner. Are you done yet? I said, honey.
It's a process, man.
Yeah, like the stream recording was an hour, which means it's going to take me at least 2.5 just to do the editing. And that's not including if I want to put in, clips or cut scenes. So yeah, I definitely understand what you mean about the timing that it takes on that as well. So, I mean, I guess the thing that's next is, we're actually going to get to your actual passion of the Sasquatch.
Sure.
But, what is actually, a passion project of yours that, you haven't got time to get to or really want to get interested in?
Yeah, there was a few things. I mean, this is a good question because it made me think and rethink when I saw that question when you kind of emailed it to me or whatever. And I know we had talked about this in the green room before the show, but I have a few things. So, but my biggest passion is to basically expand the brand. Now
Okay.
you're thinking, well, you've only started in June, right? So like, what the hell are you doing? Some people it takes years, but I'm like, I'm thinking bigger picture eventually. So I
Yeah.
think it's best to plan those things sometimes ahead of time. My goal, my passion, is that once I started kind of getting into this, was like, man, it'd be great to have again, Cannoli Sasquatch Productions, right? I have the shirts to have my own production company, like to actually have content
Oh wow. Okay.
from just a whole network. Now it doesn't necessarily have to just be limited to YouTube, but I mean I have great people. Like I would love to have my wife having her own show. Yeah, the Cannoli Connection.
Yeah.
My wife having a show. I would love to have Vex Electronica with her own show. Copa, White Bear, having segments like kind of like what you have here, having good other content creators, but not just sticking to just one subject. I want vast amount of subjects, to different varying things. But I would love I mean my own ESPN version of Cannoli Sasquatch Productions, but massive like that eventually. That's my passion to have basically set it up to where I can just kind of sit in the background and have people run my stuff for me, but still be hands-on. But I want good quality people underneath that. And but I want them to have the freedom to know that they're not just working for me. It's their baby. I'm just supporting the platform. And just kind of be like that. I want to just Cannoli Sasquatch Productions everywhere. Everybody knows the name, and it's known for good quality content and being authentic and true.
Bro.
Kind of like a Daily Wire, I guess you could say.
Okay, I was gonna say you want CSPN, bro. I got
Exactly.
you. Okay, man. All right, that's pretty dope. So I
Yeah.
mean, was that something you've always thought of in terms of saying, "Hey, I want to do CSPN," or just the minute you got into the podcasting, like it kind of grew and grew and grew?
It kind of grew and grew. Initially, Cope is going to laugh at me here in the chat. Initially, and I always thought if I was intelligent enough or imaginative enough to be a writer, believe it or not, at one point, I even took writing classes some in
Wow.
high school. I was going to take a I just didn't have the patience. Like Cope is a real writer. He's got a book, which is in my background here. Why Not Wichita?
Hey, why not
It's a
Wichita?
great book. Like it's to me, it's hard and the patience it takes to actually sit and write something down. Um, so that would be like one of my little side things. If I ever got to a point where I didn't have to work full time, I can kind of live off YouTube to have that as a side project. That's why I would go to a guy like Copa for advice and be like, hey, I have this idea. And then, Copa's great. He's a good teacher. I think he'd be patient and sit with me and be like, this is what you need to do. And
Okay.
even yesterday he had a great interview on the Lambency show with Vex and Lambency. He just said, just start writing things down. Doesn't matter if it's good, just write drafts down. Doesn't matter. Just put something on paper and see how it goes. That's another side project I would love. My thing would be to start an actual story about my wife's actual personal life. Maybe
Okay.
obviously fictionalize it a little bit, change some of the characters, but
Yeah.
she's had a rough go when she was young. And so I would kind of use that as a platform and build off that, either whether make it a mini series, a series, or an actual movie, because I think it's a
Okay.
story that should be told. It's a lot of good life lessons in there. So
Okay.
about persevering and overcoming. So that's another side little thing.
That's actually really cool, man. I mean, so I guess that is a custom follow up is saying, if you did write, would you try to lean more towards like autobiographical, semi autobiographical, or just more of like comedy, drama, sci-fi, or what would be your niche for you?
God, I like being funny. I think it's hard to write comedies though. So I would probably do more of the autobiography, what I know, what I see around me kind of thing. Now, of course, there could be comedy elements in that. Yeah. Writing
Okay.
comedies is very tough. I would go to Copa for the comedy. Like, you want to be part of Cannoli Sasquatch Productions? Write a comedy for me because he's hilarious. Me, I'd probably I pick what's around me and would use that.
Okay.
And then whether life lessons, life stories, people I know, kind of do something like that, I think.
Okay, that'd be nice. And actually that kind of bleeds into the next question is,
Mhm.
let's say CSPN blows up and they're like, yo, we need to make a movie about the Cannoli Sasquatch family. If you could you could cast anybody you want.
Oh,
Who plays you? Who plays Mrs. Cannoli Sasquatch? Who plays, the rest of your squad as presently construed?
man, this is tough. God, thinking about this today,
I don't mean to interrupt you, Mrs. Cannoli
No, go ahead.
Sasquatch. If you want to throw in your dream casting for yourself, go right ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
we talked about this actually earlier. So it's funny because I would want it to be kind of, see, that's a funny thing. I would want it to be kind of a comedy drama kind of thing because I think it would be it's a funny story. If I had to think of somebody off the top of my head, of course I would want to pick like one of my favorite actors of all time, like De Niro, Pacino, but it just doesn't fit me because they're like 4 feet tall. So I would probably go with the actor who was in the show Everybody Loves Raymond. If everybody's seen the brother, the cop.
I didn't want to say that, but I was thinking him too. I was like,
because he's tall, he's goofy kind of, and he's just, a big guy, and he's got, I think he's perfect for that casting. My wife, I thought about this too. I think she would, so Vex actually hit it. It was either going to be Marissa Tomei or Leah Remini from King of Queens.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She's got that feisty Italian kind of, she'll shoot you down like she did Doug in the show kind of thing. She'll back you and love you, but I think Leah Remini would be a great casting for her. Just because she fits her personality a little bit. So I think that would be good as far as the husband and wife dynamic. My kid picked the actress that I've actually never heard of. Her name's Joey King, and she's been on like Netflix movies before. The Kissing Booth and all that. I was like, I don't even know who this person is. I don't know. So if you looked it up,
I'm looking at right now.
Look it up, and if you saw her, you'd be like, oh, I've seen her around before, kind of thing.
Yeah, like she was in.
She picked her, and I said, okay.
Oh, it was the kid. I think it was the girl on The Act.
The Act, yes, and she was also in Bullet Train recently. Yeah, so.
Okay, there we go. So I guess we got 6, Filipino meatballs and Whiskey Bangers are part of the squad. Like who plays those two guys?
Filipino Meatball has to be somebody just short and funny. So I'd almost want to say like a Kevin Hart style guy for him. Okay. Like I can't think of like another, because he's loud and he talks a lot, and he's always trying to be funny, and he is. So that would be him. Whiskey Banger would have to be the kind of I would say maybe like a Chris Pratt for Whiskey Banger, because he's got that military. Oh, wow. He's played military people before. He could be funny. He could be like, serious when he wants to be. He's likable. He's got that same kind of personality as Pratt, where he's, a little more reserved. And so I'd say him. Danny DeVito, would be good world comedy for hilarious. For Filipino people.
Oh, he said, what's one said? He said, get Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill, yeah. He should. When he was heavier, maybe. Yeah. Now he's skinny.
He's left Zach's saying hey, and Filipino man said, Whiskey and I are basically twins.
No, you're not. Not at all. But okay.
I got you. So, I mean, I guess the other thing is, when it comes keeping up kind of with that theme of movies and musicals, I like to think that, hey, all the world's a stage, we're all actors in this great big musical of life. If life is a musical in the life of Cannoli Sasquatch, like what music or musical is playing for this whole stage that you've set with your podcasting and everything else?
You know what? I was thinking about this, man. There's so many, like I was actually thinking of musicals, and there's a few, right? And then I was thinking of actual songs that can turn into I thought of it going today. I actually heard the song today playing, and I was like, this is a good representation of life. It's the song by David Bowie and Freddie Mercury, Under Pressure.
Oh yeah. Oh, classic.
And yeah, it's a great song. And I know it's, it's very popular. It's been on the radio a lot. So I think it's a little corny, but it's like, if you listen to the lyrics of the song, it's so true. No, it's not The Greatest Showman. It's just about like and it fits me because it's about your own anxieties and fears holding you back from things you want to do that you love to do in life. And then just saying, no, the hell with it. I'm going to push through it anyway. It's really a great song. So I probably would say that would be my overall theme for like that. I mean, and the other one would have been the Lion King Circle of Life, because it's just so obvious, right? Yeah. Everything's just circles and repeats. And then my third runner up was Don't Stop Believing by Journey, because that should be like everybody's life anthem.
It really should be. It really should be. Who's got Jenna is in here saying our song will be chocolate salty
I mean, that's a good one. Yeah, I like that.
Had a
Fits.
deep moment. She's like, chocolate salty balls.
Yeah, I'm up salty balls. I'm like, thanks, Jana. I love you. Appreciate it.
Oh my god, man! I didn't. That's actually a really great song and a really good theme to pull from. That's awesome. I
Yeah.
actually wasn't expecting that either in the question.
Yeah.
That's pretty great. So I mean, I guess the other thing is, with all that you've been doing, I know that you've got almost over 100 videos out at this point now.
Oh god,
Well,
I have like
100?
I think I crossed 230 or something. I thought that's what I had last time I checked my channel. Could be wrong,
Okay.
but I thought
Dude,
it was like two something. Just because there's so many clips and shorts that I put out, it's ridiculous. Yeah, I want to say it's about the two. It's in the two somewhat. I think.
Dude, you've got well over 200 videos within what?
Yeah.
6-8 months at this point.
6 to 8 months. Yeah.
Jesus, dude, that's awesome, man. I know you're whatchamacallit. I know that you're kind of anxious about getting more subscribers and more videos, but damn, dude, like you've got a ton of great content, and I really like it.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it, man.
That was also one good thing that I found out about this community, including YouTube and Twitter. Not necessarily as bad as you think it will be. If you reach out, people will definitely want to talk to you, want to hear more about you. It's a lot more fun and collaborative. So that's why I'm glad that we were able to link up and you're able to come on here.
Oh yeah.
So I guess the thing kind of figuring things out is people that have known you for a while and seen your content, people that are new subscribers. What's something that what's the biggest takeaway you want your listeners or your watchers to understand from you?
I basically want the first thing to be is to don't be afraid to try kind of move into this venture. And I had a lot of fears. Like I said, I have a fear of pre-recorded videos. Like when I try to do a video, I just come off super robotic and just, I don't know, I freeze up like a deer in the headlights. But I want people not to be afraid to at least try. And then also I want people to come away with the idea of like, everybody's doing the pop culture thing. Everybody's doing a lot of the repetitive stuff you see. So it's kind of like I said, a saturated market. You're swimming with the sharks, man. There's so many people to pick and choose from. I want people to go, not only I watch Cannoli Sasquatch streams, not only does he have amazing guests and people to collaborate with, but his content was he was decisive with his content. He had some great points. His guests were great. I want people to be inspired to actually start their own thing watching us. And I want it to be funny. I want to entertain people, and I want people to have the takeaway of like, wow, that was really informative too. That's why I have the people on that I have on too. It's not just about me either. I want people to realize that my team on Monday and the Copas, the White Bears, the Vexes, and then the Whiskey Bear, these are the people. They're the reason why my subscriber growth has gone much higher in the last few months. Because I put them together. I put them all together because I knew that not just to help me, to help them, but I think it inspires people. I think people love the content because they're all genuine, good people. They bring a lot to the table in different areas. So I want people to look at my channel, look at my production company, eventually go, I want to work for that guy. I love him, and I want people to know that they're going to be respected and given total freedom to do what they want, as long as within a certain boundary. It's your show. I'm just, I'm here to kind of back you guys.
Okay. All right, man. That's actually really great. I mean, like I said, you come off so natural. I usually get more freaked out on live videos than I would pre-recorded, but I mean,
yeah, I've heard that before. It's just weird to me. I can't be pre-recorded.
I try. No, man, you do a fantastic job. Like I said,
thank you, sir.
I love trying to come in on Fridays, listen to you and Mrs. Sasquatch, because I know a lot of it's like me and Shiro's relationship too. So it's always good to.
It's real. It's real.
Yeah, it's real, and I guess that's the funny thing is that you figure out people don't really care about real. They want this high-end production value, and they want a character instead of a real person. And find out the real person is the more popular version of you anyway.
Sure.
But before we sign off, where can people actually find you on? I know that they know you might have you on Twitter and maybe Facebook, but like, hey, throw out all of your socials if you can. And Mrs. Sasquatch, if you know of any socials and you can link them, throw them in the chat as well.
Yeah, obviously the big one is Twitter, but I also am on Facebook under Cannoli Sasquatch Productions. I'm just about to start an Instagram page, so that's going to be starting soon. I'll have that on my link tree soon, but I am on Rumble as well. We have our stuff mirrored there. I'm on Odyssey as well. And And then I was on TikTok. I got rid of that because it wasn't doing anything for
I
me.
was gonna ask, how was that experience?
I was terrible. I hated editing my stuff for TikTok, and it didn't really help me because I'm just not the audience they're looking for. So, yeah, but mainly Facebook, Rumble, Odyssey, and Twitter, and then I assume will be Instagram, and that'll be in my profile.
Bro, as soon as you throw out the Instagram, let me know. I just subbed to you on Facebook as well. All right.
Awesome.
But
Thank
yes,
you.
that is how you can find the man, the myth, the legend, the chosen Cannoli Sasquatch. Guys. Yeah, and what you know what? Filipinos, hey, I guess that's all in if it's the OnlyFans is in the works. Only feet.
That's something for the new year. Yeah, just feet pics.
New year, new feet. I got you.
Exactly. Got to do what you got to do.
All right. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Before we sign off, Mr. Cannoli Sasquatch, any last words for the end of the stream?
I want to thank you for bringing me on. I love what you and Abomination AJ have been doing. Obviously, I've been following you guys. I love your streams, your insight you have with the comic book stuff and the pop culture stuff, the interviews you do. I think you guys are gonna be obviously successful. I think you guys know that. Everybody else knows it. I just want to thank everybody who's listening, watching, anybody who will subscribe to me and wants to in the future. John Douglas is another guy I want to collaborate with soon. So, and I want to thank not only you guys for giving me more inspiration to kind of continue on with this, because the more I see people doing stuff at a high level like you and Abomination AJ, it just inspires me more. But I also want to thank my wife and my beautiful team of co-hosts that I have on both shows. You guys are the reason why I'm here, and I love working with you. So that's it.
All right. And beside every good man is a fantastic supporting and kicking the seat pants of a spouse, as well as a fantastic team. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. For now, Sasquatch and E.G.O out.